Hi, Oliver. How are you?
Hey, Margie, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me out tonight to talk about one of my favorite places, the Amalfi Coast.
I can't wait for your presentation, and I'm so looking forward to offering this to our chamber members. I know we are going to be doing it with the Silver Spring Chamber, and I think it's going to be so much fun, so much energy, and it's just gorgeous. So how can people not want to go? So
Exactly.
let me turn it
Exactly.
over to you and tell us about it. Tell us about, the time we were going, what the weather's like when we're going. What are some great things that people can expect with your tour company? Okay.
Absolutely.
I'll
Well, let me start out and give you a little bit of background about CI Destinations. CI Destinations is Chamber International Destinations, and we work exclusively with chambers of commerce across the country with their travel programs. And I'm Oliver Bergeron. I'm the owner of the company, and I'm so happy to be able to say today we're enjoying a 98% repeat business ratio with all our chambers that we work with. And the secret is, well, the secret's in the details. There's a lot of details that make up a fantastic trip. And when we put together the Amalfi Coast, I gotta tell you, it is incredible. We're gonna spend 6 nights on the Amalfi Coast and 1 night in Rome and just see some amazing sights. Some things that make up a great program. One is, hotels. We're staying in a great hotel called the Pietra de Luna, which I'll chat about in a little bit, but it's right on the water. It has its own private beach. Another great thing is our programs are fully tour managed. That means you have the same person taking care of you when you land in Italy. They're going to be with you every day, and they are going to become they're so much more than a tour guide. I like to refer to them as your own personal concierge while you're traveling along the Amalfi Coast. So you've got tour management, you've got hotel selection, and then you've got the pace of the trip. This has a happy marriage of structured tours and leisure time so that you can do what you want to do when you want to do it. And that's one of our goals for our travelers. So without further ado, let's jump into the Amalfi Coast. I'm going to change up the screen a little bit so everybody can see everything. Let's move that, move that, move that. There we go. Here we are, the Amalfi Coast, southern Italy, where we'll be spending 6 nights right on the water in the city of Miori. But before we get there, of course, we're going to have to jump on a flight, and we'll be flying from Dulles into Rome. And upon arrival in Rome, you'll be met by your tour manager. She'll meet you right outside of baggage claim, and she'll take you down to Miori. We'll be spending 6 nights, and we'll be traveling via deluxe motor coach. Our deluxe motor coaches are typically 3 years old or newer. They are just a fantastic way to travel. And when you travel on the Amalfi Coast, one beautiful thing you're not going to have to worry about is driving. The roads are tiny, and we leave the driving up to the experts. To really raise the bar and really elevate your experience, we've included what we call the whisper system. And this allows you to hear your tour manager from up to 250 feet away. So you can actually enjoy the sights and the monologue from your tour manager with all the descriptions and the history that goes along with all the sights we're seeing. Now, I love maps. And here we are, Miori. This is our home base. And what I love about the Amalfi Coast is everything is in such close proximity to each other, meaning you're not on the coach all day just to spend a few hours at your destination and then spend all afternoon on your coach getting back to your hotel. To give you an example, when we go over to the city of Amalfi, it's less than 12 miles away from our host city, Miori. So you're not even on the coach for 15 minutes. That's just a great example of the times that will be on the coach. Everything is in very close proximity to each other. Here's a shot of the Pietra de Luna. It's a fantastic property, features 96 comfortable rooms, and it has its own private beach, as you see here. I always like to include a few shots of the public areas. Of course, there's free Wi-Fi available. Here's the living quarters. Just a fantastic place to call home. And something I like to do, when I'm in a position where I can unpack once, is really unpack, use the furnishings in the hotel, go shopping, get some water, some snacks, make your hotel room your home. Just right off the reception area of our hotel. And, I mentioned the perfect balance of structured tours and leisure time. Our tours typically start right around 9 and they're back mid-afternoon. So you have a balance where you can have a little bit of free time that you can enjoy at your disposal. Now, here we are at the outdoor lounge area. Now, could you imagine you've been on tour, maybe you're coming back from Ravello and the gardens, and you want to enjoy the sunset here and maybe have a glass of wine. This is right at our hotel. This is one of our chamber executives that shot her. Few pictures you'll see her throughout the program. Few of these pictures are hers, and this all comes back to making sure all the details are covered. Chambers travel with us year after year, season after season. Now, included in our program, we have a hot buffet breakfast every day, and then 3 dinners. This is a shot of the restaurant in the Pietra de Luna. And a shot, of course, the beach area in Miori. Now, we chose Miori to call our base home because it actually has the largest stretch of beach on the Amalfi Coast. Well, I mean, just an amazing place to call home. So something I love to do, with the breakfast, I said it starts, the breakfast starts right around 7 in the morning and the tours start around 9. So I'll have an early breakfast. I'll grab a cup of coffee. I'll walk along the promenade, along the beach, take in the outdoor arena. I like this shot because a lot of people wonder what's going on in Miori at night. Well, the sidewalks certainly do not roll up. There's a lot of activity going on in Miori in the evening. And there's some great restaurants. And this is just one area where your tour manager, she will truly shine. Our tour managers all live in their in our destinations that we tour. And they're going to, mention the great restaurants, and they're also going to say, hey, this one, it's maybe more designed for the masses. It's maybe not so culturally eclectic. And you may want to steer away from it, as maybe not as authentic as you're looking for. They're going to give you recommendations for some great dining experiences. And, one of the things about traveling on the Amalfi Coast is really getting immersed in the culture. And I love this shot because it gives you, the idea that you're actually going to get to taste the local flavor. And the Amalfi Coast is certainly an area where you'll get to do that. You're right on the coast, so of course, seafood is one of their specialties. So on our first day touring, we're going to go into Ravello. And Ravello is one of the most fascinating attractions on the Amalfi Coast. It's perched high above the cliffs above Amalfi. And before we get to Ravello, we're going to go up towards the cliffs, but we're actually going to go through the city of Amalfi. And we'll take in the city's cathedral, which was built in 1087. Absolutely amazing. This shot was actually taken in March, so it gives you a good idea of the weather. We travel to the Amalfi Coast every March and every October, and the temperatures you should expect to be on this tour, you should be in the the high 60s, low 70s, absolutely fantastic traveling weather. And here we are at Ravello's, and we're going to go into Ravello's Gardens. But first, before we go into the gardens, let me mention, I recognize that your time is the biggest commodity in all of our trips. And I never want to waste our travelers' time in line purchasing admission tickets. So we will have purchased all the admission tickets for the entire program in advance, so that when we get to places like the Ravello Gardens, we can walk right through. And there will be a line of people, 100 to 300 people long, and we will walk right to the entrance, and people will be saying, geez, what makes them so special? And it's the fact that you're traveling with the chamber on your amazing Amalfi Coast program that makes you so special. But let's go back to these views in the gardens of Ravello. Absolutely beautiful. So one of the things that you'll see along the entire Amalfi Coast is there's ceramics, and you'll actually get to meet the local artisans that make these ceramics. And when my wife and I were there on our first trip, we purchased one of these platters up here, like you see here. And it hangs in our kitchen because I'm not a big shopper, but the things I like to purchase, I like to purchase things that remind me of my experiences. So in our kitchen, we have got this beautiful platter from the Amalfi Coast. And when I've had one of those days, when the power's been out and everything's not going so smooth, I can go into the kitchen and go, oh, that was a fantastic day in Positano. I wish I was there. And it just brings me back to my experiences. I love the ceramics of the Amalfi Coast.
Did you bring it back with you or shipped it?
We shipped it back, and having things shipped back is very, very easy. The things I would recommend shipping back are certainly ceramics and then wine. It's funny, I bought a case of wine on the Amalfi Coast, and I bought it early on in the trip. And every night I'd go down to dinner with a group, and I'd take 2 bottles of wine down, and everybody would share it because that's what wine is meant for. And when I got home, when I started doing all my packing, all the wine was gone. So if you're going to take wine, definitely ship it home. A few more shots of Amalfi, which has been declared a World UNESCO Heritage Site. Now we're going to venture down into Positano. And Positano is probably one of the most photographed cities in southern Italy. And before we get to Positano, I want to tell you a little bit about the people of the Amalfi Coast. So when Sherry and I were in Positano, we were walking down these little streets that I'll show you shortly. And we thought, gosh, it'd be nice to get a little snack and take it down to the beach. And this little 5'10" lady owns this little fruit stand, and so we purchased some cherry tomatoes, some grapes, some salami, some bread, and I thought, gosh, it'd be nice to have a glass of wine down on the beach. And she gave us a bottle of wine and an opener and 2 glasses, and she said, just bring it back on your way up, and you don't have to worry about it. And I thought, oh my goodness, in California, no one's going to take care of you that way. She was such a wonderful ambassador to her country. So certainly we got to talking with her. Then we went down to the beach and had a glass of wine and had our snacks. And gosh, that was 20 some odd years ago. And I remember it like yesterday. And you're going to fall in love with the locals along the Amalfi Coast. So now we are here's a shot of Positano. So what we're going to do when we come up around this little top of the mountain here, we're going to transfer from our deluxe motor coach, and we're actually going to take little minivans down these little switchbacks, and they'll lead us all the way down to the beach here where they've got some just amazing gelato. But if you're a walker, this is a beautiful walk. And if you're a walker, it's nice to walk up nice to walk down rather than up. But we'll be taking those minivans, and the travelers absolutely love it. But look at the shot of Positano. It's absolutely beautiful. And here we are right on the beach of Positano.
It's amazing how they built everything into the rock.
Oh, it is. And the colors are so vibrant.
I love the colors. Yeah.
And I always like to include a few shots of our travelers while they're traveling. This is a very motley looking group. They actually went in March. So it gives you an idea of weather. I mean, you got everything from t-shirts to looks like a flannel shirt to a light jacket. Looks like they had great weather. But what I like about this picture, this gal here, her name's Elizabeth. She's a chamber executive. And she sent me this picture saying they were having such a great time at lunch. And I kind of laughed because I don't see any lunch.
A lot of wine, no lunch.
A lot of wine, but no lunch. So the next day we're going to venture into Naples. And this day, you get to pick and choose what you want to do. We've got 2 days where you can have a free day in Miori and enjoy the Amalfi Coast, or you can participate in 2 optional trips. And Naples is one of those days where you can stay in Miori, or you can participate in the optional tour of Naples, which is fully tour managed, like I've described earlier. And you'll have a great day starting out with the main square right in Naples. And then we're going to go through the cathedral. Now, I recognize, and our tour managers recognize, you may only go to the Amalfi Coast once in your lifetime. So we do not want to have any travel regrets. If you are doing this program on your own, you may be walking through the streets of Naples and you may see this cathedral right here and think, well, seen 1, seen 100, they're all the same. But they really aren't. And so for that reason, we're going to go inside and it's absolutely mind-blowing. This is Santa Chiria's church. Absolutely beautiful.
Wow.
And you'd hate to learn about this from Rick Steves after you just got home from the Amalfi Coast going, gosh, I was just there. Why didn't I go in? And of course, while we're in Naples, we're going to experience some Neapolitan pizza. The birthplace of Neapolitan pizza is in Naples. Doesn't that just make you hungry?
Yes.
Right about dinner time for you too, Margie, right?
Yes.
Now we're going to go back to our hotel and we'll wake up. And the next morning, if you like to go into Capri, we'll take a jet boat over to the Isle of Capri. And what a phenomenal experience this is. Here's one of our groups on the boats. This was like around 9 o'clock in the morning. And again, it gives you a good idea of the weather. Majority of everybody's in a short sleeve shirt. March is really a great time to travel and experience the Amalfi Coast. And this is the landing in Capri. And Capri is the fashion mecca. And we're actually going to meet the locals as we go through the program. And here you're going to recognize that the Italians really do take great pride in everything they touch, whether they're making fresh gelato, espresso, or maybe even your own local cobbler making shoes. Their attention to detail is amazing. So we'll go through Capri. Now we're going to venture up to Anacapri. And the views are just fantastic. And, as you go through the program, it's so nice because right now, like I mentioned, it's fully tour managed. It's so nice. By now, your tour manager is your best friend. And my goal for our tour managers, I truly want them on your Christmas card mailing list, by the 3rd day of the trip. So after we go through Anacapri, we're going to go back down into the city center of Capri. and take in some sights. And if you'll have time for some lunch, stroll the streets. And it's just a great day. And my daughter actually traveled with the group in March, and I always like to include a couple of her shots. She's a pretty good photographer. This was one of hers. So the next day, it's just amazing what we're going to see next. If you just walked in, you might think we're talking about the ruins in Athens, Greece. But no, we're going to go into Pastium and Salerno. We're now on day 6 on the itinerary. And Pastium is one of the most and best preserved archaeological sites in Italy. And it dates back to 450 BC. It's mind-blowing. And the word that comes to mind is antiquity. You can't help but wonder how many people have walked into the footsteps we're walking in. 400 BC, just amazing. And here's our Chicago Chamber executive. And what's nice is, we've included entrance into the museum at Pastium. And the museum, we'll first walk the grounds, but this is like the cherry on top of the hot fudge sundae. It ties everything really beautifully together. Now we're going to make our way to Salerno. And before we get to Salerno, we're actually going to get to visit and tour a working water buffalo farm. And this day, people are like, they don't really quite know what to expect, but it always ends up being a huge, huge highlight. So on the working water buffalo farm, we're going to learn how buffalo mozzarella is made. And of course, not only how it's made, but what does it taste like? We'll have a little bit of a tasting there as well. And then we'll enjoy a tour of the city center of Salerno, as well as have some free time on our own. And before we make it back to Miori, we're going to stop at a limoncello factory. And if you folks haven't had limoncello, it packs quite a punch. It's a lemon liqueur, really best served over like shaved ice, and it's an after dinner drink. And when we were there, our first time, we were there in November, and my wife and I bought, oh gosh, probably about 10 of these little limoncello containers and shot glasses and a little dish, and we gave them away as Christmas presents for friends and family, and people absolutely love them. And we'll learn limoncello is a big part of the commerce on the Amalfi Coast, as is buffalo mozzarella, as is fishing. But we'll also have some free time so we can take in the local outdoor markets. And on day 7, and when this is special for our travelers, on day 7, I leave a date absolutely to your leisure, so you can really do what you want to do when you want to do it. And one of the things that I absolutely fell in love with was, so far pretty much we've seen the Amalfi Coast, with the exception of Capri. We've seen Amalfi Coast all by the views of our deluxe motor coach. On your free day, if you want, you could take a water taxi maybe back to Positano, which is about a 10-minute water taxi away, and you can have lunch at your favorite restaurant in Positano, or go over to Amalfi. Just the water taxis give you an incredible insight of the beauty of the Amalfi Coast. I mentioned fishing is a huge part of the commerce on the Amalfi Coast. And before we bid farewell, I always like to include the last shot of Positano, one of my favorite cities, truly in all of Europe. So now we're going to bid farewell to the Amalfi Coast, and we're going to make our way up to Rome. Now, if you, like I said, if you were doing this program on your own, you would be just driving on the freeway, and you may look out to the right and you might see the snow-capped mountain, and you might not know anything about it. You might not know it's Mount Vesuvius, and you might just pass up Pompeii. But with CI destinations, you know, my biggest goal is to make sure we don't have any travel regrets. So we are going to go off that highway and we're going to go into Pompeii, which is beyond amazing. Beyond amazing. In 79 AD, this right here, Mount Vesuvius, erupted and leveled the thriving city of Pompeii, which at the time had a population of over 100,000 people. And we will have a full tour of Pompeii, taking in all the ruins. And what is amazing is everything we're seeing was under at least 12 feet of ash, volcanic ash, and really was more recently rediscovered. And as you go through the ruins of Pompeii, 79 AD, I mean, it's mind-blowing. And you may look over your shoulder and see a little foothill, and that's just an area that has not been excavated yet. You'll actually see live archaeological digs where you'll have people dressed in like hazmat suits. The areas will be caution taped off. They'll have little brushes and chisels, and the things they're discovering haven't seen the light of day since 79 AD. It has been declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. 3 million tourists tour Pompeii annually. I mean, amazing is a word that just gets abused when you try to describe Pompeii. So from Pompeii, we're now going to venture and make our way over to Rome. We'll be spending our last night together before we board our flight home. Now, that being said, for those folks who have not been to Rome, the Rome airport is a good 50 minutes outside the city center. That being said, we stay in a city center hotel in Rome while we're there. And we offer a 2-night Rome extension, which works absolutely beautifully with this program because you don't have to change hotels. You have 2 additional nights in Rome with a comprehensive city tour, opportunity to take in the Vatican and Sistine Chapel. And like I said, it works absolutely beautifully. And on our last night, we'll have a little farewell dinner. And what I love about our chamber travelers is, you know, we start off, we don't know everybody, but by the end of the trip, we are all friends and family of the chamber. And that, in a nutshell, is the amazing Amalfi Coast. And now let me finish on one of my favorite pictures, and then I'll open it up to Margie to have a few questions and see where we go. Let's see. That's a great one. Where we go from there.
That's wonderful. I do have a couple questions.
Sure.
For the optional trips, I know you said you made some of them optional because some people don't like the water, right? You want to talk about that?
Right. Yeah, they're optional because, like, for instance, Capri is only accessible by the boat. And so some people don't like boats. And Naples is optional just because of travelers that has been the feedback that they've given us. They'd like to be able to pick and choose. And optional does mean there's an extra cost. Each optional trip to Capri or Naples, it's $195 per person. You don't have to register for that. Now, typically within a month prior to departure, we have that taken care of.
Okay, and we're leaving on March 20th, 2024.
Mhm.
And let's see one thing I like about working with Oliver at CI Destinations, he's been to all of these places. He knows what he's talking about. He's got the relationships. He stayed at the hotels. And the best thing is I've traveled extensively myself, and I hate packing and unpacking. And one thing I love about this is you're in one hotel, like he said, make it your own. Yeah, you unpack and that's it. And it's
Yeah, it's so nice when you're not unpacking and packing and packing and moving around. With our programs, it's nice for you to know that it's got that perfect balance of structured tours and leisure time. You know, I've seen tours where you start at 7 and you end at 9 o'clock at night, and by the third day, you're not quite sure what you've seen because it's been so busy. And ours are the polar opposite of that. It's very rich in inclusions, but we want you to enjoy yourself. We want you to, when you think back of the Amalfi Coast, go, gosh, you know, that dinner that you and your wife went to, that was a highlight. Or, you know, that free time is always a highlight.
Yeah.
And you know what's interesting is 33% of our travelers did something custom last year. And what custom means, you know, this trip is open to friends and family of the chamber. If you have friends that are in St. Louis, Colorado, Michigan, San Francisco, or even Fresno, California, we can fly them from their preferred cities rather than having them fly from Fresno to Dulles round trip, which is about a $600-700 airline ticket. To fly from Fresno over to Italy wouldn't cost that much more. So it's open to friends and family, and we extended the early booking discount to August 30th. So for all those folks who register by August 30th, you actually save $100, and the price then is $34.99. After August 30th, the price does go up $100. How do you register? Well, you complete the back of the registration form and send that into the chamber along with your deposit of $450 per person, and make that payable to CI Destinations. And then we'll send you out a confirmation packet and introduce you to your operations manager, who will be the same point of contact throughout the entire trip. And that's something our travelers really like.
And also what's really important is to have the same tour guide meeting you at the airport all the way through. You know, I've been on trips where you don't know who's on what, and then there's a language barrier, or, you know, none of that happens here.
None of that. Yeah, it's so nice to have the same person taking care of you from the first day to the last day. And on that last day, I will tell you, we will have people that will shed a tear because they have formed a relationship with their tour manager. And our tour managers, I'm amazed with technology and social media, how they keep up with our travelers.
And then the travelers want to stick together and go on the next trip. So that's why we're lining our trips also. So, you know, we have people going to the French Riviera, October, right? And,
October, yeah.
Yeah, and some of them already are interested in traveling together to Amalfi. So it's wonderful. It's great. And to be able to travel with like-minded people, because like he said, Oliver said, he only works with chambers of commerce. There are a couple tour operators that only work with chambers. And I've worked with many of them, and so far Oliver's the best. I like his program the best because of the things that I've said. You know, the one hotel, the one tour operator. And then one other thing I want to talk about, people, you know, you don't have to be a chamber member. You can invite, like you said, family, friends, we could fly them in. And also people can stay in Rome extra nights, you know? So
yeah, if they want to stay in Rome, they can do that. even if maybe I have travelers do this all the time, like, I'd love to fly in a couple days early, get acclimated, and when the group's there, I'm ready to roll.
Yeah.
So if you want to fly in early, or if you want to, extend to spend a couple nights in Rome, or maybe do a couple nights in Venice, or even Tuscany, we can accommodate you happily.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oliver, thank you so much. I so look forward to this next trip.
Thank
And
you, Margie. Thanks for having me out tonight.
yeah,
If you guys need any questions, feel free to give us a jingle. Our number's on the bottom right page of the brochure.
yep. And if you need more brochures, just ask me. It's also on my email signature. You can click right on it. You can also go on rockvillechamber.org website and click on the March 20th, 24. I think it's already up there, but we have it. So just let us know and we'll help you out any way we can.
Fantastic.
Okay. Thank you, Oliver. You have
Thanks, Margie. It was great seeing you. Have a great evening.
Yeah, you too.